On this webcast, we're going to talk about word of mouth, referrals, and how to grow your business faster than you can think in 2019. Let's go. Hey everybody, this is Antoine Dupont and this is Webcast number 45 with Matt Ward with Breakthrough Champion. Hi Matt, how are you?
I'm great, Antoine. How are you?
It's good to have you. It's been way too long, and I'm super happy that you've made my webcast, and you're there with number 45, which is your favorite number from what I heard.
45. It's like if you add them up, it's like 9. It's almost 10.
It's unbelievable. So today we're going to talk about your the stuff that you talk about, which is word of mouth, and that's really interesting because I believe it's an amazing strategy that way too many business owners don't take advantage of. But before we start, please introduce yourself to all the people that don't know, and then tell them what do you do for a living, and specifically why do you get up in the morning?
Yeah, so Matt Ward, my company is Breakthrough Champion. My website's mattwardspeaks.com. I was in the agency world for 16 years, and in 2018 sold my company after 16 years to my longest tenured employee, and am now a full-time professional speaker. So I speak about how to get more word-of-mouth referrals in your business, and I wrote a book about it earlier in 2018. And what gets me up in the morning is really just sharing with people what I figured out. So I just love connecting with people. Like that, I'm a total connector, and in fact, many times would not even try and sell my service. Some people used to call me, Antoine, and say, "Do you know anybody that does websites?" And I'm like, "What about me?" And it turned out I had never spoken about my business enough.
Right.
I was just known in the whole area as a connector. And I love that aspect of it. I love connecting people. I'm a relationship-driven person, and I love to care about other people. And that's what gets me up in the morning, is just reaching out to current contacts, relationships, and even building out new ones. It's just so much fun to learn about other people.
Very cool. Very cool. So that's totally what I have you as. You're definitely a connector.
Yeah.
Matt knows everybody, and everybody knows Matt, except you. Maybe you don't know Matt, but now you do. All right. So we're going to talk about word of mouth strategy, word of mouth marketing. I think it's one of the most underused strategy that people use. People want to use Google ads. They want to make the phone ring, and they're looking at all the stuff, all the Chinese stuff that is out there, Facebook marketing, video marketing, Google ads, website, and all this thing. And they have an amazing resource that's right in front of them if they leverage it right, which is word of mouth marketing strategy. So before the show started, you told me 3 things that people should be doing. So make some notes right there, and then write this down into your 2019 strategy for word of mouth. The first one you said is, it seems like really basic, but just like stay in touch. So tell me more about that. What do you mean by stay in touch?
Well, so let me rewind this just one bit and just say that the number one thing, like when I go into a room and say, how many people, how do you get your business? And I have people do the show of hands thing. 99.9% of people in the room raise their hand when they say word of mouth referrals are the number one way they get new business.
Isn't that
and
amazing?
then I say, okay, put your hand down. Now raise your hand if you have a plan in place to actually get more systematic word of mouth referrals. And no one raises their hand because they don't do anything about it. So the first rule is stay in touch, right? The reality is if you don't stay in touch, then you don't exist to other people.
True.
It's your responsibility to stay in touch. It's not stay in touch to sell. It's stay in touch. Just remind people that you're there for them, that you can be a resource to them in any way possible. Whether that's being a connector or whether that's for the service that you provide. If you do reach out as a stay in touch methodology with services you offer, then they won't continue to stay in and keep you in their Rolodex
Right.
or their contact list these
Yeah.
days on the
And,
phone,
and
right?
and it's really amazing, and I have that frustrating thing in that has happened to me where because I didn't stay in touch enough with people, I had existing client buying services that I sell from someone else. And I can tell you that without an ounce of a doubt, the reason why they did that is because I didn't stay in touch. They didn't put two and two together, or someone
And
sold them on,
because,
and it's
Antoine,
like, wow.
they connect that methodology of staying in touch with caring.
Hmm.
Because if you don't stay in touch with them, then you don't care about them. That's the leap that they take,
Right.
right?
That's right.
And so somebody else simply stayed in touch better than you did. That's all that is.
Hmm.
It's not a reflection of service in that
Right.
situation, because the reality is, if it was, they wouldn't have stayed on as a client nearly as long as if it was a reflection of service, right?
Right.
And so that's why it's so powerful that we
Hmm.
find unique ways to stay in touch.
Hmm.
And so the number 2 thing I gave you
Well,
was
so let's stay on number one, and I think it may lead to number two. But
yeah,
I want to hear. So I think, because I know number two,
yeah,
where are you going with that? But let me tell you a couple of things that I do to stay in touch, and then one of them that I actually is a brilliant idea. Obviously, email marketing is one of the ways. A lot
yep.
of people are looking at email marketing, and then especially what they want to do is they want to sell, or they want to send a newsletter, which nobody wants another newsletter. But email marketing is a very powerful tool once a week to actually send a non-salesy message, more like, keeping you updated. Here's what's happening, or here's what's happening in the industry. Here's what's happening with me. Here's what's happening in your geographical area, that has you stay in touch. I actually built my business on email marketing. And I went away from it because it was so spammy and everything. And I so regret that I stopped, because now that I'm back in it, I'm actually staying in touch with people. So that's one method that you could use as a way. But again, the email marketing, staying in touch, is non-salesy. Just stay in touch. The second thing I think is an amazing opportunity for any business owners is leveraging Facebook marketing. Facebook marketing has the ability to connect with everyone that actually likes your page, or it's connected with you, and send them a message to stay up to date. So you could, in Facebook, boost or sponsor a post that is a stay in touch post to people that actually follow you. And I think it's a great technique, because who else gives you that? So you could have the email marketing, which, by the way, an amazing open rate in email marketing is about 30 to 40%, is really, really good. So you're still going to have a whole bunch of people that are not going to open up your email regardless of what you do. But I think Facebook marketing is a great opportunity. So now I want to send it back to you, which was your number two, and the number two point in your referral word of mouth was send a card.
Send a card.
Yeah, send a card. So tell
Yeah.
me what you mean. Sorry, my phone just rang.
No, it's
Why
okay.
that
I mean,
happened.
here's the thing. Before I jump to send a card,
Yeah.
you talk about Facebook messages,
Mm-hmm.
just private messages. That's a way to stay in touch.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of
Yeah.
phones, how
Yeah.
about a text message?
Right. And
How about a
by,
Facebook video message? How about a bomb video message?
mm-hmm.
All these things are relevant and personal in a very unique and strategic and straightforward way.
Mm-hmm.
And they connect in a one-to-one way, which is what a card does. So you take a handwritten card. This one is it just says thanks on the front of it. It's embossed with thanks. I bought it at Walmart or something.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, if you have a bunch of these in your desk, you can send people cards for all kinds of different things. And if you started today and sent a card every Monday, I guarantee you'd get a referral.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not talking about sending one to the same person, but pick somebody each week and send a card out and make it a habit. In the next 6 weeks, somebody's going to comment on that card you sent them. They're going to send you a message about that card you sent them. and you're most likely going to get a referral.
Right.
Why? Because you're showing up. You're
Right.
showing up. You're staying in touch. And people refer people, you know, generally speaking, that they know, like, and trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we've always heard through business. But I believe
Mm-hmm.
that people refer people who they know, like, trust, and care about.
Right.
And the reason they care about you is because you care enough about them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They don't want you to go out of business, because if you do, the caring person, the person that cared about them more than anybody else, is now out of business.
Right.
So they're going to refer you naturally for that. You don't have to thank them. It doesn't have to be a thank you card, but it could be just a note card.
Yeah.
Hey, congratulations on your anniversary if you're connected on Facebook. Hey, happy 2-month post-op, you know, happy 2-month post-birthday.
Right.
You know, things that you might know about them from having connected with them on social media. If their kids graduate high school, it could be congratulations on being a soon-to-be empty nester.
Yeah.
Right.
And by the way, when you send a card, there's an amazing, the same tool that we just talked about is Facebook. You can look at people's profile and see what they're up to and congratulate them on something that happened recently for them.
But you congratulate them through the card, Antoine. That's what I love.
Right.
I call it social media espionage.
It
where
is.
You go on social media, you find out all this information about somebody that they readily share.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're telling the world about this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
who they are and what they do. And then you send a snail mail letter card or something like that to them. And here's the thing about that, Antoine. It stands out so much more than what other people are doing.
I just received one.
Most people say it takes too much time to send a card.
Yeah, I just received.
Argue. See, you got a card right there.
Yeah.
I argue it doesn't take too much time. It takes a little bit more time than sending an email. And here's the thing. It stands out far more.
Yeah. And so I received I received a handwritten card from a prospect. And it's a handwritten envelope, right? Which I think what's important here is the handwritten, because there's a lot of there is some systems out there where you can automate this, and it kind of like it pretends the handwritten thing and the handwritten, but it completely.
Let me touch on that real quick.
Yeah,
I would much rather they use that than nothing.
Right.
But the handwritten card, to your point, is so much better because people understand that it took you more time to write the card yourself than to subcontract it out through an email or through a service.
Mm-hmm.
And it is more likely that they'll keep this card that you handwrite than the one that you used an automated service for.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think that the handwritten card, and I think that the strategy for all business owners out there is, first of all, to order cards and envelopes, and then make it a point to every single day, you send a new card. You know, you pick someone from your Rolodex, you spend like 5 minutes going on their Facebook page, look them up, or LinkedIn, see what they're up to, send them a card. If you don't have any information from Facebook, which by the way can get creepy, okay, don't be creepy there. Don't say things like, you know, that's way
don't
too
send
personal.
a message asking for their address.
Yeah. you know,
Somebody
I mean, like something about their kids, for example, unless you have a relationship with them, I'm like, I wouldn't say something about their kids because people may think it's creepy and whatnot, but just send them a thing. And it's just, hey, you could even just say, hey, I was thinking of you. Hope everything is well in your world. And then just, you know, have a great week. Cheers, you know, boom. And then that's it. And you stayed in front of them. You didn't ask for anything. You just sent a card, but you stayed on top of mind. And I think it's an amazing strategy, which is low cost, actually, in terms of marketing. And it's a very high impact. So I think it's a great strategy.
Oh, for sure.
And I'd love to hear from you guys.
Somebody asked me one time, Antoine, that they said, how do I ask for an address of somebody I just became a Facebook friend with? And I said, you don't. You have to build a rapport with these folks,
right?
First. However, one thing I always tell people is before asking for an address, look at the company website. Oftentimes, the contact information, contact page, or on the footer of the website has the mailing address on it because you want this card to be a surprise.
Right. Right.
And I can't tell you how many people actually ask me for my address, but it's on my website.
Right. And I can tell you one of the things which is really important here with this card. which I think this card here, it's a handwritten envelope. So let me just tell you, and I think you're going to recognize yourself with what's happening here. I have a stack of envelopes, that thick, that actually comes pretty much on a daily basis, and it goes like this, right? And you probably do the same thing. I look at the envelope, and within a split second, I've made a decision: trash or keep. And 99% of the stuff goes in the trash. I do not open it, right? As the second I see, which, by the way, this card that I received here is in advertising, is someone asking me to use their services. And I opened it because it was a handwritten envelope sent to me, right? So I'm like, and then there is an address on it, which is a local address. It doesn't say a company name. Even if I had seen a company name, I'm telling you, I would have opened it, because I'm like, I'm now curious. And when I opened it, there is a handwritten card, from Moving Kings, by the way, and they're saying, hey, we're a 5-star rated moving company, and we'd love the opportunity to earn your business. I'm like, wow. And it's just Eric, and here's my number, right? Handwritten.
That's powerful, Antoine.
And that's just really, and this is really powerful thing, which is the same thing. And so I opened up a piece of advertising, but it's the same methodologies. If it's a handwritten card, people will open it and interact with it. And even if they think, oh, he's just doing this for this, they still have connected with you for one way.
But even here's another point I want to make about this guy, Eric, right?
Right.
Even if he doesn't get your business,
right,
you are more likely than you were before receiving the card to refer his moving company to somebody who needs a mover.
That's true.
Like, hey, this guy sent me a card in the mail. He's pretty cool. He cared about me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just nice. There's actually a little business card behind here. There's a playing card, like you can see here, and I don't know what that playing card is, and I can, it's redeemable for 1 month free storage. It's a moving company, but I just think that the methodology there is awesome, and it's actually used by word of mouth.
And this is a hybrid of what I would say between caring and marketing, right? Because you've got the advertising in there. One thing I do recommend is that when you're straight up caring about other people, you just send them a card, no contact information whatsoever.
Right.
Now, in a prospect situation like we're talking about with this guy's card, he needs that information, because otherwise you wouldn't know who he is. You don't have a long-term relationship. But if I'm going to send you a card, I'm just going to sign it with Matt. I'm not even going to add my last name, because you're going to know exactly who it's from by the message inside of it.
Right.
There's not going to be a business card in there.
No, and it's just actually, regardless whether it's pure, straight advertising, or whether it's a straight staying in touch with people, I think the effectiveness is the same, because it's a handwritten card, and none of us receive a handwritten card from anyone. So there's a huge opportunity right now to return to that and just saying, hey, listen, what a better way to show you care. So I'd like to hear from you guys if you have a methodology to stay in touch with people, or based on what we talked about, you could put it in the comments below. We'd love to learn a methodology or something you've done that's very effective and has worked well. It would be awesome. And the third point that you had, which is, the first one is stay in touch. The second one is send a card. And the third one is make it about them. So what do you mean by make it about them?
So let's go back to that card. Exactly what I was saying with regard to the contact information. You want to make it about them. It's so imperative that when you care about other people, you're giving with them in mind, not with you in mind. So the things we do at Christmas here in the United States, we give people Christmas presents that they want. But in business, we give people gifts that we want, right? So we buy gift baskets and give them to all of our clients, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is that we don't even know if the person we're giving that gift basket to can't eat fruits and vegetables or whatever's in that gift basket, or we order them a tin of popcorn. They might be allergic to it or something.
Yeah.
We don't do the research enough to find out enough information about our contacts. And I notice I use the word contacts, not just clients, but contacts as a whole, to understand what they like, right? So if you know people well enough to know, you got to know their hobbies and the things that they like to do. I once received a gift card when I sold my home to
Mhm.
a restaurant that I would never go to.
Mhm.
It was just a restaurant that was not my style. Um, but yet I'm a huge ATV enthusiast. You know, I
Mhm.
have one of those side by side ATVs in my garage.
Mhm.
The realtor had to walk by that every time they got in and out of my house.
Mhm.
So that same $100 gift card,
Mhm.
while I was happy to receive it from a restaurant, would have done me much more of a service
Mhm.
had it been to an ATV online store, right? Or a
Mm.
place locally that I could buy ATV parts or accessories or clothing or whatever. If your client rides a Harley, you know how fanatic they are about
Mhm.
their Harley. You could buy them a Harley Davidson coffee mug
And they'll
and
be
they
happy.
will love you to eternity, right?
Right. Right.
If they drink coffee, right?
Right.
So you have to know these things. So that's why I say make it about them,
Mhm.
because when you show up in their lives, if it's about you, then you're not caring.
Mhm.
And that's the key differentiator between getting more word of mouth referrals and not.
Mhm.
You must do it because you care, not because you want referrals.
Mm.
Referrals are the byproduct of caring about other people.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, and I think it goes back to, what the availability of that information to every single business owner that is out there. And then, by the way, in terms of, we know our business owners, how busy they are. We're both Matt and I have run businesses, are running businesses and whatnot. So it's like we understand the scalability sometime of like, I don't know that I have all the time, but I know for a fact that you could pay an intern or you could pay someone a fairly low hourly rate to say, you know what, find me one thing. Here's my entire list of clients and find me one thing per each person that you know that they actually are passionate or love, whether it's their kids or whether, for example, on my profile, LinkedIn profile, or I think Twitter, I said, my weakness is champagne and Nutella, right? It's a kryptonite for me. I can't say no. So it's like, and there you have it. Like you could know that. And so what would be a better gift to give Antoine to actually send him a box with a bottle of champagne and a jar of Nutella? I would actually laugh my ass off. I think,
I don't even get that. What's the connection?
or there's no connection. It's just either of them. I can't. It's not
Do you
together, by
just
the way.
like put a spoon in the Nutella and then drink the champagne?
Yeah, no. It's they're not together. It's just either or. If you give me a cup of champagne, I cannot say no. I have to drink it. If there's
Oh,
Nutella, I have to go for it. It's not one with the other.
oh, I
They
see.
could be exclusive, but either of them, it's like I'm weak at the knees. If it's there. But it is, you know what? And it's a joke. I just said that on my profile because I wanted to have something funny. But at least I'm communicating something, and your clients are communicating something on their social media profile, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and whatnot, of something you could grasp, you could get, and then you make it super personal, and I think that it would be very impactful. And
Antoine, I have to tell you, I opened my book with a story about Ronnie Bartles in Charleston, South Carolina, who wrote a blog post one time that talked
Mhm.
about how odd things go together, sweet and savory. And she talked about chocolate covered bacon. And I found chocolate covered bacon and shipped it to her house. And within minutes of
Mhm.
her receiving it, she was taking pictures and posting it all over all the social channels. And she referred us a ton of business. Did I send her chocolate covered bacon because I thought she would
Hey,
refer
are
us
you
business?
guys are you guys listening to this? Like, you're talking about you find someone that likes Harley Davidson, you buy them a freaking coffee mug for like 5, 10, 12 bucks, give right? Send it to them, and all of a sudden that person is actually going to take a picture and actually spread that information on social media. It's called free advertising. That type of advertising is worth hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for $12 coffee mug. Now you have to be authentic and you actually have to buy the mug and send it to the appropriate person. If you send me a Harley Davidson mug, I would be like, oh, great.
Exactly.
Why would you send me that? I don't care. I do not own a Harley Davidson. Neither do I ever want to own one. Actually, if I had one, I wouldn't mind, but I wouldn't go out of my way to buy one. But you send me a jar of Nutella and say, here is your kryptonite, Antoine. I would just laugh, you know what I mean? And it's the same effect. And I would talk about it. I would do exactly what Matt's talking about. I would take a picture of it. I would share it. And all of a sudden, there's a whole bunch of people in my network that would know about Matt. And that would get comments, and that would get people would interact with that. They would like it and whatnot. And it would be and actually, you know what? It's a type of influencer marketing, isn't it? It's kind of like
I think to a degree it is. I think the reality is probably relationship marketing because it's built on the relationship. And it's funny how if you not even study people, if you just pay attention, just a little bit of what I call listening with your eyes and your ears, right? Both senses. You don't have to have or be in a conversation with somebody to understand what they like. People do webcasts and podcasts all the time, and they talk about what they enjoy. I've had people show up on my podcast or send me emails about being an ATV enthusiast because it's on my website, but I've never spoken to them.
Right.
So they send me emails telling me how they love the hobby as well. And I think that's what connecting is all about, Antoine. It's not like you walk into a room with a bunch of networking people. The first thing you do is try and find that common ground.
Right. Yeah. What's the thing? All right, cool.
Like you love Nutella? I do too. No, actually I don't, but and so you don't want to fake it that you do, but the point is if two people in the same room love Nutella, could you imagine the stories that you would share about what you put Nutella on? Yeah,
it's like I when I go to Paris, I have to have a crepe with Nutella. It's just it's happening. It doesn't matter if there's riots and people setting cars on fire. I'm at the street corner and I'm getting a crepe with Nutella. You keep having your stuff in the back. All right. In any case, so 3 things. Remember for your 2019 strategy, word of mouth. Number 1, stay in touch. 2, send a card. 3, make it about them. This is what you should have in your, I really honest opinion. Every single one of you should have a written word of mouth strategy for 2019. Now, Matt, before we part ways, I know you speak about word of mouth and whatnot, but if someone say, well, I'd like to talk to Matt more about this because he seems like he has a process and a methodology around it. What are you available for, and how can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, so couple different ways. I mean, so I am doing speaking at conferences and keynotes and corporate events and workshops, right? 4-hour workshops on how to get more word of mouth referrals. You can reach out to me through my website, mattwardspeaks.com. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. You can find me all there. You can get a link to my caring assessment to see how you show up in the world with other people right on my website. It's free to take. You can also take a link over to check out my book. It's on Amazon. It's in ebook and paperback and soon to be released in audiobook that is in development right now. And so this is really it's a super quick read. There's 40 lessons in here with different tips on how you can connect with other people. And this will help you build what I call your personal care package, which is that plan for 2019 and beyond on how you can connect with other people and get more word of mouth referrals in your business.
Okay, very, very cool. Well, Matt, on that note, thank you so much for spending the time to share your knowledge and expertise with my audience. And on that note, I wish you an amazing day and actually a really prosperous 2019 because it's right around the corner.
Thank you so much for having me, Mr. Nutella. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Matt. Bye.
But before you leave, please subscribe, click the bell, and see you next time.